match, but did you get what you wanted to out of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously had a couple of injuries, of course, but that's what happens when you play footy. But yeah, I thought the movement of what Wush is trying to implement with the boys was good. It's just that balance of the chemistry. Again, all those boys playing in the the good side or the B side, and just the time and then the timing through the midfield, through the forward line, and all that sort of stuff. So there's a balance in all that. But yeah, we were pretty happy with the way we moved the ball. Obviously, then one side had to defend it as well, so we're happy with that, and basically how we moved out of the stoppages. So overall, it's pretty good.
Anyone that particularly impressed you?
Oh yeah, well, blokes that we were all hoping, with those players that were returning, very senior players and very good players. We didn't want then the group that had actually moved forward last year to take a step back or hold their own line. I mean, some of those players like Langford and Long, Parrish, you can see that they're hungry for success, and their performances, I thought today around Watson and Zaharakis and Goddard were very good, very encouraging.
I haven't seen him for a few months, but gee, Job's in pretty good nick, isn't he?
Yeah, and again, that's the balance of his workload, getting him through, and Hurls went down with a tweaked ankle, but most of those boys returning have had soft tissue, only for a session or two, but I mean, their will and their want to do 5 sessions a week is fantastic, but their bodies just aren't ready for that just yet, so we've got to manage them, but also then there's the balance of the chemistry in the forward line, in the midfield and all those type of things. But yeah, Wispy, his performances have been really encouraging, and I think he's done enough, if you know what I mean. He's ready to go, but we just got to manage him through through the JLT series and into the start of the season.
What's the early take on Hurley's ankle?
Yeah, just a little tweak. I mean, it's blown up a fraction. It's not a huge one. So look, he was fairly obviously wasn't happy about going off. Of course, he's such a great competitor, but maybe a week. It's not a bad one.
Does it derail any plans to get him playing in that first JLT game?
Oh, yeah, look, if he's right, it's right, because we got such a break between the 3 games. We've got 10 days, 14 days, and then another 14 days before the start of the season. So, again, I think Wush is not concerned, but what he wants to do is get the chemistry. So as much game time, all those players, in his mind, what that best 22 looks like, can play together. But he's not going to take any risk as well, because last I looked, there's no premiership in April or May. It's generally towards the back end of the season. So like Tommy Bell-Chambers has had a injury interrupted pre-season. Well, it's all about him playing the back end of the season, fingers crossed, and results going our way.
Good to see Danaher out there today. Has he played some match simulation before?
Yeah, mate, Ralphie, that's probably his 20th minute, I reckon, playing with the boys. So not a lot, but again, it's exciting. You just see him come off the pre-season he's had and just do the little flickers of ball control, ball security, kick a goal over his shoulder, those type of things. And when it goes in his area, normally it stays in his area. So yeah, I think that was probably about his second lot of 20 minutes, pre-season. So yeah, look, he could be a toss of a coin for JLT round 1. Will he be ready for round 1? We'd have our fingers crossed that he is.
And just talk an update on him.
Yeah, he's progressing well, and again, he's one of those returning boys. It's that balance of chemistry and his load. So he's doing more. I think he had about a 15k week last week. So he's building up, and again, it's just slowly as we can, because again, it's the 4 points in the season that we want to unleash these blokes on.
It's fair to say the boys have voted for the captaincy. Is that sort of a next week thing we probably find out?
Yeah, I think Wush is sitting up there like a Cheshire cat at the moment. He's got the numbers. He's spoken to me, and not me directly, but as a match committee, and just spoken about a structure of a leadership. He hasn't given us names or results, but I think, based on what I saw last year with the group that was left behind, and the work that Brendan Goddard did and James Kelly did around the group, and then obviously the returning fellas, some of the young fellas that pushed up as well last year in Junior Merritt and Joey Danaher, there's the good decision, and it'll be a good decision to make, and Wush has got plenty to choose from. That's a good thing.
Is Job open-minded? Like, he hasn't said, I don't want to be captain? Or
yeah, I certainly haven't heard that, mate, and that's a conversation Woosher and Job will, or whether they already had that conversation. They're obviously keeping that behind closed doors, but yeah, that's I'm sure a conversation that the existing captain, we can't still forget that Brendan Goddard was our captain last year and did I thought a fantastic job under fire. He's got those two players to deal with, depending on the decision that the club and obviously Woosher and the players go forward with. So as I said, I think whichever way we go, it's going to be a great decision, I think, for the club going forward.
This ball movement, was a bit stodgy for obvious reasons last year, and a couple of your drills there, you're really trying to get it quickly over the back.
Yeah, or just connection, because of, and no disrespect to our top-up boys last year and the young kids that were trying to, assert themselves in the competition. But yeah, we were certainly defending on the back foot a fair bit last year. But just you can see the chemistry and the connection with the play through our pre-season, you can see we can have 4 or 5, 6 chains of possession and actually get it inside our forward 50 rather than last year. It was sort of up and down a bit like a yo-yo.
Andy McGrath played some minutes, probably didn't massively stand out. It's a weird situation that normally you're the bottom side coming out of the prison, but he'll have to fight pretty hard for a round 1 spot, I assume.
Yeah, and again, different to Darcy last year. He's our first. It was our first pick, not the number 1 pick, but thereabouts. And he was basically, there you go, mate. Well, look around. There's not much competition here, so in he goes and he plays his 20 odd games and did a fantastic job. Whereas Uwa comes into the mix, and all of a sudden, Job's returned, Dyson Heppel's returned, Carl Hooker's returned. All of a sudden, there's a bit more competition in the team. So that's not a bad thing. And again, we can't expect. We'd all love him to play like Darcy did last year, but the expectations are him just get through a pre-season, get yourself fit, get yourself mentally and physically prepared for round 1. If you're in the best side, mate, we'll pick you, I'm sure, and if not, we'll ease you through like most of the other players do in other clubs.
You spoke about Cole Langford before. Do you think there's room for him to be a first-choice midfielder?
Yeah, well, the decision's in his lap. He's certainly done the yards. He's done an amazing pre-season. He's got himself big. His knowledge working with Paul Corrigan's gone to another level. So he's got it all there. But again, you got Joe Watson, Dyson Heppel, David Zaharakis, Brendan Goddard. The list goes on through the middle. So again, it's his choice. But so far, he's ticking all the boxes and looking really sharp. And he's really chewing up the work. And he's playing some good footy.
So James Stewart and Josh Green, how have they gone, the new boys?
Yeah, I mean, again, probably I know it's a unique situation we talk about, but probably the same sort of situation as we had to introduce players as we had to last year. So, yeah, Jimmy coming from GWS and Greenie coming from Brisbane, yeah, they've really fitted into the group well. And probably because of the lack of ruck, Jimmy's found his sort of niche and position forward, doing some part-time ruck work. So he's up and about. And, Greenie had an interrupted pre-Christmas, but he's really found his feet. And he's an experienced player. He's kicked goals, played through the midfield. So his experience and his knowledge, forward knowledge especially, is really helping the boys grow around him.
Just to hear the blokes being really vocal, Joe just stood out. How great is that to hear them on the track, that to school of young blokes? Yeah,
and not to suppress the young blokes from last year too. And I think that's been the great lesson, well, certainly for me, just listening to the senior players return and not over-talk the young kids, and the young kids still feeling free to speak up. And again, I take back to last year with Kelly and Goddard and these boys that had to shoulder that responsibility, and the environment they create has allowed those boys to continue to do that. So yeah, it's quite noisy. I describe it like last year was a bit like the grade 1s. This year's it's like the grade 7s. You can't shut them up. So that's a good sign.
You mentioned a couple of injuries. Who was the other one apart from Hurley?
I think Morgo might have just tweaked his ankle too. That's even lesser than Hurl, so he may miss a session. But get a few call. And I think Junior Merrick got a corky, so I think he'd be right.
Was it just a roll of Hurls?
Hurls, yeah. I didn't see it, but yeah, I saw him afterwards, and he had strapping on it. And look, he's not too concerned. Yep. So as I said, it's a week, but in the scheme of things, it's not going to be a massive thing.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Thank
you, man.
Cheers.
Thanks, boys.